Hello, everyone, and Merry Early Christmas. My name is Patricia Meredith, and I am an author of historical and cozy mysteries, now cozy. Today I am celebrating the release of Death of a Christmas Tree Salesman, and I am joined by Kay of Kay's Hidden Shelf. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I apologize to anyone watching. I'm on day 2 of a cold, so if I sound weird, sorry.
You sound great. We should have you read some of Sam's lines, because then you can have the nice deep.
There you go. There you
Yes.
go. You've got a plan, and
There we go.
congratulations.
Yes. So I'm really excited about this book. Oh my goodness. For those of you who don't know, previously I have published historical mysteries. So I've got 3 in the Spokane Clock Tower mysteries. Yep, she's got them right there. That starts with Butcher Baker Candlestick Taker, and then there's Cupboards All Bared, and then Crazy Maids in a Row. And I published those starting in 2021. So that was about every 6 months for those. And then beginning of this year, I published the first book in the Anna Katharine Green Mysteries, which is another historical fiction mystery series. And that's the first in that series. And then, honestly, we had a very rough summer. And I was like, I need something light. I need something easy, and something that I didn't have to do a lot of research for. Because all of those historical fiction books require a lot of research. And so I thought, well, my husband, Andrew D. Meredith, he writes fantasy. So I want to try writing a fantasy, because then I can just make stuff up, right? But that didn't end up being that true for this book. I ended up doing a lot of historical research because I got really sucked into the legend of Santa Claus. And so once you read the book, you'll see where all of the research went into it. But I had so much fun because it did start with just a fun idea. I wanted something extremely Christmassy. I love reading Christmas books at Christmas time. Do you do that, Kay? Do you like just read Christmas books, or?
No, I go the complete opposite for some reason. I might even go darker at Christmas time with my fantasy reads, but I do try and fit in more feel-good stories. So
Yes.
this was actually my first hurrah into a full Christmas type story around like leading up into Christmas time, and it was absolutely darling.
Oh, good. Yeah, I love Christmas stories, and I love Christmas time. But to be honest, I'm one of those who I don't do anything Christmas until after Thanksgiving. I'm like,
Mm.
Thanksgiving, and then the next day is when all the Christmas decorations go up. So this year was actually, it's been really hard for me, because I'm like, oh, I'm like listening to Christmas music too early, and I've got all my Christmas decorations starting to get those up. But it was so much fun because it's honestly, it's been one of those years where I needed Christmas to start a little bit early. So
I think that's fair. And it's interesting because you do go into the different traditions in Christmas with the book. In Canada, we don't have Thanksgiving in November. It's October for us.
oh,
So many of us will actually wait. I mean, some people November 1st are just like up with the decorations,
yeah.
but many of us will wait until after Remembrance Day on November
Okay.
11th to start celebrating. So we don't have the 2
Okay.
holidays that close together. They're a
Right.
bit separated for us.
Yeah. I wonder why they ended up with Thanksgiving when it is. Like, I don't know which came first, and that's
Yeah.
something I'll have to look up.
Yeah, there you go. Then
Yeah.
why the differences when we're neighbors and we share so
Right.
many of the same holidays.
Yeah, yeah. Because we did have, I mean, Remembrance Day was still November 11th. It's Veterans Day here,
Oh, okay.
um, there's so many. This is like just the holiday season, right? It's like all the
Yes.
holidays just kind of build on each other, and then before you know it, it's January 1st, and you're like, I just need a break. I need to do nothing all
Yes.
of January.
And just like that, it's Valentine's Day.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's Valentine's Day all of a sudden. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But yeah, I love Christmas, and so we always wait until after Thanksgiving, and then we pull out all the Christmas movies and the Christmas carols, and we're listening to Christmas music all the time. And I love that season. I love
Yes.
going shopping during that time, even if I'm not buying anything, just being in the malls and out on the street,
Yeah.
and just seeing, yeah, I just love it. I love getting the tree up and all of that. And so I really wanted to capture all of that in the book.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I go to pick up a Christmas book, and especially a Christmas mystery, and sometimes it's not Christmassy enough for me. Like I want the North Pole, and I want Frosty, and I want Rudolph, and I want Santa, and so that's what I wrote.
Well, that's it. You wrote
Right?
the story you wanted to read.
Exactly. Write what you want to read. And so that's absolutely what I did. And it's full of Christmas references. So did you
Mhm.
catch a lot of the lines like from Christmas carols and
I
Christmas
caught
movies?
I caught some of the lines,
Yeah.
not all of them, some were unfamiliar to me, but that was
Yeah.
also fun because I got to hear something new or learn something different or go, "Wait a
Mhm.
minute," and do a little research. I appreciated the facts on, like, dates and inventions and things like that too, because those were
Yeah.
things I was just like, "Oh, they're always there," right?
Right.
Candy canes have always been a thing, I'm sure, right?
Right.
Did they just
Exactly.
start at a specific date?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
really fun looking that stuff up. And some of it surprised me.
Mhm.
Like candy canes and tinsel, the whole candy cane. So in the book,
Yes.
there's competing factories. So all right, I guess I should probably pitch the book. Here's the book. So Sam Shovel is a talking snowman who comes to life once a year at the North Pole, and he only comes to life for 12 days. And his brain is a little bit sloshy. He doesn't really remember things from year to year, so we're not really sure how long he's been doing this. But every Christmas, he seems to come to life for 12 days. And this year, he is just in time to solve the murder of Mr. O. Tannenbaum, who, of course, is the leading Christmas tree salesman at the North Pole. And I had a lot of fun with all of their names just like that. So we've got Peppa Kane is the head of the candy cane farms. So you meet the candy cane farmers and discover how they plant and crop their candy canes. And they're in deep competition with the Tinsel Factory, which is run by the Sugar Plum Fairy and all the other fairies.
Mhm.
And so you've got them coming in, and then you've got O Tannenbaum with his Christmas trees. And then you come across some other characters like Curtis Snicker. So Curtis Snicker is a Yule lad, which is from the Icelandic tradition of Yule lads. They have 13 very mischievous, very naughty gnomes that come to your house the 13 days leading up to Christmas. And they are doing all sorts of things. They're stealing food and stealing, they're like slamming doors and stealing anything shiny and things like that. And so it's kind of like an evil elf on the shelf. Like they're causing mayhem, and I loved that tradition. I thought that was really fun. And so Curtis Snicker is the gnome that used to always steal your candles, and he tends to eat them too. And so he's always been stealing candles, and now there's not candles in the world as much. And so he has since switched his job to working for Mr. O. Tannenbaum. And so then we get to meet Curtis, and Curtis kind of ends up being Sam's Watson. And together they just are solving all the problems and having some incredible conversations. So let's see. We've got, oh, hello, Nico. How are
Hey,
you?
Nico.
He says, I did enjoy the mix of celebration of Christmas in general and the learning about other cultures, traditions as well. Thank you. I had a lot of fun looking them up. And then there's not just the different traditions in the back. I included some of the recipes. Um,
I was
so
so
um,
excited when I saw that.
yes, I know, and I really want to do a bake with you, because so if you go to Kay's channel, she has started doing bakes from books, and so she did. I'm blanking on Travis Baltree's book.
Yes, the, legends and lattes. I did the
Legends and
cinnamon roll.
lattes. Yes, the cinnamon rolls. So she did this
Yeah.
wonderful, it's so cozy and comforting, and I'm so excited for you to do more of them.
I'm honestly excited to go through it because so I guess the only downside of doing those videos would be the, detriment it would have to my waistline. Because it's just making one batch even, there's
Yes,
so much of it, and I
yes,
mean, there's not enough of us in the house to make it through,
right,
so
right. And your little one is still too little to help with that. So
I mean, he could help, but it would be, a helping,
right,
It's take twice
exactly.
as long.
Right. So yeah, so the recipe that I ended up including, so all right, so hold on, back up. So the other part of the plot is the Santa network. So the way I decided to set up how Santa works is there is the lead Santa at the North Pole, and he's the head over all the franchises. And the idea is that the original Saint Nick made it his way to the North Pole, and then his family from then on has descended down. And the current Santa Claus, head Santa, is Nick Claus of Nick and Nora Charles, which is the Thin Man detective series that I love by Dashiell Hammett. Have you ever watched those? Have you watched those movies?
No,
Yes. So
okay.
Dashiell Hammett, he wrote The Thin Man, which is a book with Nick and Nora. But then they ended up making a TV show, and he wrote the screenplay for it.
Okay.
He's also known for like the Maltese Falcon, which is where Sam Spade comes from. So that's why we end up with Sam Shovel instead of Spade, and Nick and Nora Claus, who are the head Santas. And some of the lines that they say are straight out of the Thin Man movies, or the references to the Thin Man movies, because I love them. They are one of those, like, I'm about to binge through them again, because there's, I think, 5. And they're so witty. They're full of witty banter. And I love their relationship. They're a married couple, and you just don't see that a lot. You don't see a lot of detecting duos that are married and have a positive relationship. So,
that's the kicker, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So there's 6 movies. Thank you, Andrew. So I have Nick and Nora as the head Claus, and then they've set it up as a franchise. And so all the different Santas throughout the world, all the different cultures have a different Santa. And so that's why you have Sinterklaas in the Netherlands. Netherlands. And then you have Sheng in China, and all over the place you have all these different Santas. And there's over 50 cultures that I found that have a different version of Santa. A lot of them are very similar to the American Santa, because a lot of it comes from Western America spreading. But then a lot of them are very different. Like Sheng had that Santa plays a saxophone and gives peace apples, and he has sisters who work at in his orchard to fill everybody's stockings and everything for Christmas. So instead of having elves, he's got all these sisters. And so there's just so much opportunity there for great stories and getting to know each of the Santas. And so 2 of the first ones that we meet actually are 2 Noels, because of course a lot of them are Noel. It's Baba Noel and Père Noël, and they're just, it's really fun. But one of them is the Egyptian Baba Noel. And so he is making, how did you pronounce it, Andrew? Kaif. See, I just looked up the word. I made Andrew look up all the pronunciations because he's the one who did the audiobook. So in the back of the book, I was able to find an actual Egyptian recipe for kak, and I've made it, and I tweaked it a little bit, made it my own. And one of the things was doing pistachios instead of walnuts. And they're really good. They turn out really, really well. And then the other recipe we included was Mary's gingerbread cookies. So Mary is the name of the gingerbread man in this book. And he's a little crazy. He's trying a lot of different recipes, trying to bring gingerbread back and make it popular again. And so one of the things he's trying to do is incorporate carrots into the recipe. And I honestly could not figure out how to do it in time before publishing the book. Maybe I'll figure it out over the next month while I'm doing all these bake-alongs. But so the recipe in the back is my go-to gingerbread recipe. It's what I have used for years. It turns out really good, and depending on how thick you make the cookies, you either get a really chewy gingerbread cookie, which is what I prefer, or you can get a really tough one for building your castles or sleighs or whatever you're going to build. So, but so it's full of different traditions, and thank you, Diane. Loved the recipes. I loved finding the recipes, and I've got several other ones that I'll have to share. And it's just, it was so much fun trying to figure out how to incorporate all those into the story and not make it okay, well, now let's hear about this tradition, right? So it has to be part of the story. Trying not to info dump too much.
I think you did it well because, like you said, Sam's memory is a bit slushy, right? So he's learning as well as the reader. So I think you pulled that off really well.
Oh, thank you. That was my main concern with it, because the other thing with this book is it came really quickly. Like, it was very, so I always write backwards. I always start with the end. So I knew who done it before I did anything else. I also knew who Sam was. I didn't know who his sidekick was going to end up being. It wasn't until I started doing more research and really getting into it that I was like, okay, Curtis is perfect. And honestly, Curtis just kind of popped up. He popped out of nowhere, as a gnome does, and introduced himself. And he was just too much fun to not keep at his side for the rest of the book. So
yeah, it seems like the perfect companion to the serious or somewhat serious detective is the mischievous little
right.
sidekick.
Right. Oh, yay! Hello.
Hello.
Let's see. Gotta move myself over, so I'm still in here. There we go. Oh no, bring them up. You can make them bigger. There we go. Yeah. I've got Andrew running my stuff over there. So, hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Congratulations on your release day.
Thank you. And where are you streaming from?
North Pole, Alaska.
The North Pole. So one of the main reasons I had to, do you want me to call you Kate?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the main reasons I had Kate and T, her brother, who run an erudite adventure, which if you're looking for more great conversations and recommendations for books, they have an excellent channel, just like Kay's. But I asked them specifically to read my book because they are based in North Pole, Alaska. And I thought that was just super cool. So how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing well, yeah.
Good. Do you guys have snow up there?
We do, yeah. We just got a bunch today. So
Awesome. Yeah, Kay was just saying that they've had a couple flurries too.
Yeah, we're at the stage of flurries melting, and eventually it'll stay, unfortunately. I'm not the Canadian who likes winter.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I tolerate it.
Yeah. That's one of the big things about Colorado is everybody talks about how it snows all the time. But the trick is, yes, it snows a lot, but it usually melts right away. Or the sun is there. And so it just doesn't feel as cold. It's not like the Midwest cold, which is what I grew up with for winter. Out here, it's, the snow dumps and then you go outside and once you're halfway through shoveling, you're stripped down to a t-shirt and jeans because it's warm in the sun because it's right there. So yeah.
That sounds like a much more pleasant winter.
Yes. So, and Kate up there, are you guys in the darker time of year?
We're getting there. Yeah, we still have quite a bit of daylight, but it's starting to darken a little bit. So we've got about a month left before it gets real dark.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. That was one of the things I had to look up for my book because, of course, they're based at the actual North Pole, right? So in the Arctic Circle, and then I had to look up the moon cycles, and I wanted to know so on Christmas Eve, what does the moon actually look like, so I could describe it. And Andrew was joking with me because he was like, "Yep, that officially means that you're writing a fantasy book because once you start looking at moon cycles, it's a downhill slope from there."
I like that that's a downhill slope. I would not have guessed that it would be a moon cycle.
I think it's just the fact that there is a lot of research that actually goes into writing fantasy. It's you don't think so until you start writing one.
Right. Someone's fact checking that.
Exactly. Yep. So yeah. So let's see. So I've just been talking about the book, Kate, and just describing what's in it. And let's see. So if you order it, it's a hardback book. I wanted to do a really nice, something that would look really good in your Christmas stocking in the morning. And then I did the art for the front, which is it's cut paper. I love doing cut paper style art. So I paint it and then I cut it out and then I tape it onto other paper in order to make the 3D kind of effect. And so I had a lot of fun playing around with that and making that work. So, and then of course I had to make an actual one. Let's see, because then we made our little book trailer, which we just showed. So this is Sam.
I love it.
From the book trailer. So, and my daughter made him. And she's 8. So she designed him. She looked at my cover and then figured out how to make him. And then I bought a snow globe to keep him in, so that way I would have this forever. Because, yeah, this is the first book and what I hope will be a longish series. Not sure how many books. That's the nice thing about Cozy is I don't have to plan how many. Right. I can just write until I run out of ideas, which is never.
Oh, that's really adorable. I did ask because I had seen the trailer and I messaged Andrew. I'm like, I really hope you kept those like little claymation or whatever they are figurines like Sam and all the pictures and behind. Yeah. He's like, yep, they're in the snow globe.
Yep. So that way I can keep them. So yeah, we'll have to, because I'll probably end up making other ones. I had a lot of fun making the claymation. And that came because one of my beta readers, as soon as he finished the book, he sent me a message and he was like, so is it okay that I pictured the entire book in claymation? And I was like, yes, that is perfect. It's exactly what I want.
That is awesome. And so with the design of it all, with the release of it and everything else that you did, because you did some other little goodies that were on theme with it too, right? In a box?
In the deluxe box. Yes. So, okay. So that's a good lead in. Here we go. So
I want to see what's in the box. I'm purely selfish here.
Because you've already pre-ordered one. So I know one's going all the way up to Canada. I'm so excited. So I have put together a Christmas deluxe box because it's Christmas. And so I wanted something fun with lots of fun little things inside of there. So you can order this through my website. Yep, there it is, patricia-meredith.com. It's only available through there. So it'll come in a fancy decorated box. We've got the North Pole mail on there. So it's going to come direct to you from the North Pole, packaged by Nick and Nora. Well, not Nick and Nora themselves, probably from their helpers. But then you'll be able to open it up and it'll all be gift wrapped inside. So let's see. So we will have Sam's favorite drink, which is hot cocoa, which is funny for a snowman, but it's explained in the book. So this is Sam's favorite drink. It's got hot cocoa and then what I like to call a disassembled snowman because it's 3 marshmallows. So what a snowman would look like if he got into a cup of hot cocoa. So that'll be in there. And then let's see, there'll be a personal Christmas card with a wax seal. I found these amazing seals. So I'll get to do all of those. I love doing wax seals. They're so much fun. So I'll write you a personal Christmas card, or maybe I'll have Sam write it. We'll see if he's available. And then there'll be a metal cookie cutter, and I have tons of different shapes for these. So if you go to order it online and if you leave me a note in the there's like a little place for notes. If you have a specific shape that you would like, let me know and I'll try to make that happen. But I've just got a variety. I've got angels and, stockings and snowmen and all sorts of things. And so you'll get one of those in there. And all of these things have to do with the book. So once you read the book, you'll get all of the references. But cookies is one of the things that's really big. Mrs. Claus has a special recipe for Christmas cookies, which are very special. So you'll have to read the book to find that out. Let's see. I've got some stickers, some fun little stickers in there, little Santas and stuff like that. There'll be a homemade bookmark. And again, I've got a bunch of different paper for this. Lots of fun, like antique kind of looking paper. Some with like Christmas carols on them and things like that. And then I'm adding a little, what do you call it? A little dangle thing, a little snowflake on there. So you'll have a nice bookmark in there. And then I've got a candy cane, of course, freshly picked by the Canes at the Canes family farm. And that'll say that on there too. And I'm really excited about that, about how I ended up describing how the candy canes are grown and everything. I thought that was really fun. So it'll have a little tea light. And again, I've got a couple different scents in here. I think there's like gingerbread and this one's cinnamon. So some different little tea lights. And then I've got 2 laminated recipes. So these are the recipes that are in the back of the book. but they're laminated because that's how I like to do my recipe cards. Is I laminate them and then I have them in a 3-ring binder, so that way when I'm cooking, I don't get stuff all over my recipe cards, and that way they'll stay for a long time. So these are all typed out and printed and laminated, so those will be in there. And then, of course, the 2 big things. So one of the main things that I'm so excited about is the peppermint soap. So this is handmade, hand-painted by a local gal here in, she's in Woodland Park, just outside Colorado Springs. And I met her at the farmer's market, and she makes all these beautiful handmade soaps. So I talked to her about making a peppermint scented one. And we were able to find a mold that looks just like my cover. So she put it all together. It's all separate pieces that she put together. So snowman, Christmas tree in a snow globe. It's just too perfect. So, and then peppermint soap will say on the back, it does not contain mistletoe. So don't worry about that. And again, you'll understand that when you read the book. It's not giving too much away. And then, of course, there will be a gift wrap copy of the book inside, and I won't open that up right now, but that'll be inside, and you can always add in more copies, and let me know who you want them signed to. So then once you unwrap it, you'll have this nice hardback edition, and I can sign it right in the front, and then it's just got I had so much fun laying this book out. We've got our character lists in the front, so we've got our dramatis personae in this one. And then each chapter has a different Christmas tree shape, and they actually have to do with what the chapter has going on inside of it. So once you read through it, you'll kind of figure out what each Christmas tree has to do with what happens in that chapter. And then, like I said, the recipes are in the back, and that's So, and that's what will be in the Christmas Deluxe box. So, will that work, Kay?
I mean, I am so impressed with the soap. I had no idea you could do that with soap.
I know. And in fact, I mean, she sent me pictures of her painting each one. It's like, oh my gosh. And they just, they smell so good. They're like this really, really great peppermint scent. You know how like peppermint can be either like a York patty or like toothpaste. And it's just, It's not toothpaste. It's that perfect peppermint, like a candy cane scent. So it's perfect. She did such a good job with them. So
awesome.
I do have limited copies of this. So I only have 50 boxes, 50 soaps, 50 boxes. So be one of the 50 people who this Christmas will get a special box. And again, you can get that at my website. So all through the managed to match. I know we do. Look at that. Look at all that red. That's perfect.
If we say yes, does that give us bonus points?
Yes. So
that's such a fun box. I loved all the different things and how they tied into your story. That's really cute. Cool.
Yeah.
I had so much fun finding all the little stamps and all the little North Pole. Love it. So excited. Oh, and then the other thing we were working on yesterday, my daughter and I were making a bunch of earrings. So we're about to do some live Christmas fairs here in Colorado Springs. We'll be at 3 different ones. One in Colorado Springs, one in Fountain, one in Colorado Springs, one in Buena Vista, which is where I grew up. It's a mountain town that's about an hour and a half from here. And then one at the book archive. So there's a bookstore here too that we'll be doing stuff at. So we're going to sell homemade earrings. But if you would like to add them into your Christmas box, into your deluxe box, there is an option there when you order the book box. So we've got little books. I don't know if you can see those.
Oh my gosh.
Little books. So there's gold and silver and gold. There you go. We've got jingle bells.
Oh.
We've got Christmas lights. I love these. And these ones also come in, let's see if you can see that. They also come in blue and gold colors, and they're kind of mix and match. And then we've got candy canes, of course. Candy canes. And Christmas trees, of course. Little Christmas trees.
Aww.
So you can add those in and and add those to your box as well. Or you can just order those individually. I still have to get those up on Square, but those will be available also after the Christmas fair. So yeah, so I've got my own little elves helping me make all these little things. So
that's awesome. That must be fantastic memories for you guys putting all this together.
I hope so. They've been so they've been very excited about this book. They keep asking if they can read it, and this is the one that I'm most like, yeah, you could probably read this. It's written for adults, but it's definitely on the cozy side. And I mean, frankly, Harry Potter and Percy Jackson have murder in them, so it's not it's not something they haven't read before. So
yeah, at a certain point you have to start comparing it to what they've already read, right? And
exactly. So it's definitely, I mean, like 12 and up easily could read this book. It's not, there's nothing naughty in it. It's all nice other than murder. So just murder. That's okay.
I love the never-ending puns.
I had so much fun with those. And I ended up making a spreadsheet. So I use Evernote for all of my books. That's how I organize all my notes. So I had a spreadsheet that was just Christmas Carol lines. And then I had them marked whether they were public domain or not. So that way I knew public domain, I can use the lines straight out of the Christmas Carol, right? But if it's not public domain, then I have to switch it up a little bit and make it more of a pun instead of a straight line. And yes, that ending was something else. Good. I'm glad it surprised you. Hopefully it was surprising but inevitable. So that's always my goal, is I don't want it to be surprising that you're like, where did that come from? I want it to be, well, of course it was. So, but with the puns, I had a list of Christmas carols, and then I had a list of lines from Christmas movies. So anytime we would think of a Christmas movie, I was like, oh yeah. And so I'd look up lines from it and then try to incorporate, so I'd do a search. I'd be like, okay, well, I need Curtis to say something about candy canes. And so I'd be like, oh, right, there's that line in Elf where he's talking about candy cane syrup and chocolate or something, or the three main food groups for elves. And so so it took a lot of we're always quoting movies, so it came more naturally than it probably might have, but it was really fun coming up with all those.
They were very fun to read. That was probably my favorite part about the book, was catching all the little references throughout it. Yeah.
Oh, good. Do you feel like you caught quite a few?
I think so. I'd love to read it again. I'm gonna read it to my family, so I'm excited to see what we'll catch together. That'll be fun.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, and that's always fun too, because like I was telling Kay, there's lines out of the Nick and Nora Thin Man series in there as well. Yes, candy canes, candy corn, chocolate, and syrup. There we go. The 4 major food groups. There's lines in there that are straight out of the Nick and Nora Thin Man series, and it's interesting who catches those, because it's the generation that grew up watching those, because it's one of those, they're black and white films that are, Turner Classic Movie, that kind of thing, Hallmark, you grew up watching those, like The Man Who Stayed for Christmas, that one, the man Who Came for Christmas, that one, yeah, Christmas in Connecticut, all of those, just those classic ones. And so a lot of those people caught the lines from Nick and Nora, but then honestly, a lot of the younger ones did not. But maybe I'll get you to start watching Nick and Nora, because they're wonderful.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, because like you said, it went over my head. I didn't realize I was even going to ask him, like, Nora, where did Nora come from?
Yes.
So that makes more sense.
Yeah. I think Andrew's going to grab the video real quick so I can show you. Because it's William Powell. Yeah, William Powell and Myrna Loy. This is the Thin Man. And they are, let's see, 1934 is the first one. And honestly, the first one is not my favorite one. But you have to start with the first one. I think it's the fourth one which is the one with Jimmy Stewart. That one's really good. I think that's the third one. Anyway, but yeah, there's Jimmy Stewart. It's that kind of just classic humor. They're really fun. really fun series. And they are based on books. The books, though, Dashiell Hammett he's a noir detective. So it's hard-boiled. It's darker than what I prefer to read. I prefer Agatha Christie, like just kind of the lighter, cozy mystery type stories. His books are definitely darker. But the TV series, but this one, the Nick and Nora specifically, is lighter. It's, I think there were censor things, like they had rules for how movies could end in the 30s through even the 70s, because like that's the whole thing with like the original Italian Job and the original Ocean's 11 is they don't get away with it. Spoiler alert in the original ones. Whereas, in the new ones, it twists it, it changes it. But in the original ones, they couldn't have the thieves get away with it at the end, because then that would encourage people to be thieves, I guess. I don't know. So like that one, The Great Train Robbery by Michael Crichton, that's another one that you're just like, oh, okay. That doesn't end how I would think it would end today. Which is always interesting. So, Kate, what is your favorite Christmas tradition?
I really enjoy setting up the tree. That's just decorating the house. We do it all as a family. A lot of years we'll go out in the woods and find a tree and cut it down ourselves as a family. So
a real one.
Yeah. So that's probably just decorating, because everyone stays and helps for a little bit, all the siblings and my parents. So.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Kay?
Our family is still building traditions because we have a little toddler, so we're trying to incorporate traditions from both sides of our family.
Yeah.
But definitely my favorite part is turning the lights on the tree. I know that seems like a small thing, but getting the lights on once it's fully decorated is probably my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was definitely something that I wanted to include in the book. Was it was a decision I had to make, was did I want him to be pro live tree or pro fake tree? And I decided he was both. Well, because that's kind of where Andrew and I got to, was I grew up going out and cutting out a real tree. And then I met Andrew, and Andrew was like, oh no, we're never going to do a live tree. We're totally doing fake ones. And it's grown on me. It's kind of nice having a fake one, because we can put it up the day after Thanksgiving, and I leave it up sometimes until the end of January. It's like, oh, I need to put Valentine's up. I guess I'll take down the tree. So.
My grandmother absolutely loved Christmas, to the point where she would keep her Christmas tree up all year round. But when it wasn't like okay to have it, out for everyone else to see, she would saran wrap it and put it in the basement, fully decorated. She kept the decorations on it. She would saran wrap it, and she would just like tuck it in a corner in the basement where she could see it, but guests wouldn't see it. She's like, I would celebrate Christmas all year round if I could.
Yes. Oh yeah, I love it. So Kate, do you guys, I guess with the real tree, you probably have to wait till closer, right?
Yeah, typically it's usually the first or second week of December. But sometimes we've had years where the tree will die before Christmas, or right about Christmas time. It's turning a little brown, but it's still fun. No. So
yeah. Do you guys have special ornaments that you put on, or do you like so when I was growing up, we would get a new ornament every year. And so we would end up with these boxes of, so like when I moved out of the house, I got my box of ornaments, and that was my starter set, right? For once I got married. So do you guys have
Yeah, we do have some special ornaments that were just from grandparents or something like that. It wasn't something we got specifically every year, but we have, this is my ornament, this is T's ornament. So things like that for sure. We have less of the very aesthetically pretty tree and more of just a fun one typically. So bright colors and lots of crazy ornaments. So
awesome. Okay. So more than one tree. That's
no, just one typically, I guess I should say. We decorate it kind of without caring if it's going to look very pretty. It's just bright and colorful.
Yes. Yeah. That's how we are too. It's just all about the memories as you're hanging them up. And I don't try to do like a themed tree. My mom has started doing like small themed trees. So she's got like a bear tree and a Was it your mom that did the button tree, Andrew? Hello, Nico.
Hello.
Oh,
Do you set up a Christmas tree, Nico?
We do. We used to
Real?
always do a real one.
Yeah.
And then I finally convinced Layla that a fake one is so much easier.
It
So
is.
we have it's a white one, so she likes it because
Okay.
it looks cool.
Yeah.
It is so much easier.
Yeah. And that's what won me over once we had a toddler, especially Kay. The first couple of years I was like, no, I really want a real Christmas tree. It's what I grew up doing. It's what I want to do. And then once we had a toddler, it was like, no, let's switch to a fake one. And then that just became, it's just so nice to just set it up and leave it up. And yeah.
Easier to manage.
It is. Yeah. You don't have to worry about watering it and all of that. But I miss the smell and just the feel of the needles, just having the real, the tactile part of it. It's the same thing with real books versus reading on an ebook or listening to an audiobook, right? There's something about holding it in your hands. So
yeah, I think I grew up my parents did the real tree for a while, and my memories of the real tree are the dead pine needles in my feet because they would stab in when you walked around.
yes.
So we ended up switching over pretty quickly from what I remember, but they tried. They did try.
Yeah.
well, congratulations. Sorry. I was just going to say congratulations again. I do have to hop off, but thank you for inviting me to come on, and it's very exciting for you.
Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Thanks. Have a good night.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Hello, Layla. How are you?
Hello.
How you are?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, that's right. You can't hear.
I grabbed my ear.
Yeah.
Say hi.
There we go. Hello. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Feel so cozy already.
Yes, exactly.
We have cookies to be in theme since I'm not wearing red.
Oh, well, there you go. But Layla is, so
I'd say that counts.
Yes. He's got tea too, so he's ready.
Excellent. Good. Yeah, I've got my hot cocoa.
Perfect.
So yes. So how about baking traditions? Do you guys have anything that you bake every year for Christmas?
So I tried, and basically I was trying the gingerbread recipe. And I had a recipe. I absolutely love it. But the problem I ended up finding was every time I made it, didn't matter if all the ingredients were the same, it came out tasting different every time.
Huh.
And I'm wondering if it's from the molasses that I was using.
Yes.
Because it would either taste perfect and sweet and it had the perfect texture, or it'd be really bitter.
Okay.
And that's the only thing I can think of because I don't bake with molasses otherwise. But yeah, I usually try and do some kind of cookie. My grandmother she used the outdoors as a freezer. So she would bake cookies till both her freezers were full, and then the outside snowbanks were packed with Tupperware. So I always try and do cookies if I can.
Oh my goodness, is it that cold? Wow.
Oh yeah. And if you look up some of the Canadian winter stuff, you'll see people who have basement doors, and they get so full with snow that they'll actually turn it into a fridge for their beer or something. Their drinks. They'll just open the door and put the drinks in the snow and shut it again.
That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
That needs to go in the book.
The
next book I need to have. I didn't even think about that. Of course, they would store things in the snow. That's brilliant.
Oh, that's funny. I guess so on Christmas Day, because years ago it was the first time that we weren't going to be with any family on Christmas Day, Layla and I, and she was kind of bummed, and so I got up early and with some food dye, I made Christmas tree shaped pancakes. And so now I make those every Christmas morning. But otherwise, I usually don't at least with sweets, I don't eat sweets much, and there's only so much that Layla can eat. So I usually only make something if like we're bringing it. So we'll do
Yeah.
pies and stuff a lot
Yeah.
anymore. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You're making me think. I'm like, no, it's all sweet stuff. That's yeah.
it's usually
There's
how it
no.
goes.
Yeah. Yeah. We've made, well, but that was more for Thanksgiving, but we've done like the cheese platter or the veggie platter, but made it look like a turkey, we'll
Oh,
put like, celery and peppers, and to use like, red and yellow and orange peppers for the tail feathers and things like
oh,
that.
nice.
And that's always fun. The kids get to help with that. And I guess one year we tried to do like a Christmas tree on a board with that kind of thing. But other than that, there really isn't any like go-to health food, is there?
I
I did.
mean, I think it depends. I know when we do Christmas dinners, we usually have like the ham and the turkey and all
Yeah.
the veggies and stuff. But that's usually when everyone's coming over.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I did try to make a Christmas tree shaped cake last year. Did not go very well. So I didn't really map it out. I just kind of tried to freehand cut it, and
Oh yeah.
that was a mistake. But
I wonder
Artistic
if you could do it.
creativity.
Yeah. I wonder if you could do it with like cupcakes, like the
that
pull apart cakes,
that probably would have worked a lot better.
and you could just make, yeah. Yeah. I love that you make Christmas pancakes though. Did you say that you dye them? Are they
Yeah,
green? Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Do you decorate them with like, I guess, what would you put red on there? Like cherries or something?
I should try to do something like that. I should get because she likes chocolate chip pancakes. So if I just get some like red ones, that would be perfect. Actually, I never thought of
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
that'll I'll add that this year.
Well, and even M&Ms, right? Those are just chocolate, but they're colored. So you could, have little baubles on there that are different colors.
That is really really fair. I never thought about
Yeah,
that.
that
That's
would be fun.
cute.
Well, I think
Yeah.
we're gonna have to introduce that to our kids this year because that sounds like fun. They would enjoy that.
And they're surprisingly easy to freehand with just like the cut plastic bag. Or if you have an empty bottle, that actually works even better. But
Okay. Okay.
I've seen the people who have like the special bottles and like do the fancy designs. It's definitely not
Yeah.
that fancy. It's
Mm.
much simpler.
Yes.
But it works pretty well.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. The only time I can think of that we've done shaped pancakes is for Star Wars Day. We used to have these shapes. They were like a Yoda head, and I think like a stormtrooper or something like that. But then lately, it's been I make Death Star pancakes because they're circles.
That's cute.
I mean, it's still fun though.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I can pull that off.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you then about your book and talking about
Okay.
traditions, because you said we were talking a bit before and you said you did end up doing a bit of research for this one as well. Which tradition did you end up finding throughout all your research that really stood out to you? Something that you really loved or was really unique or different?
Ooh. Trying to think of one that was in the book, because one that we started last year that I'm definitely going to do every year is the Yola Boka float, which is so it's a Icelandic tradition. On Christmas Eve, you give each other a book, and then you stay up all night drinking hot cocoa and reading the book. I was like, that sounds like a perfect Christmas Eve to me.
Sounds pretty good.
So yeah, so we did that last year, and that's going to become a tradition, absolutely. And then well, I definitely I liked making the kach. I want to make that again. That's the Egyptian cookies that are in the back of the book. Those will definitely, I'll be making those frequently. Well, and then Nick Claus, he eats gingerbread biscotti in the book, and that's another one that that's an actual recipe that I'll eventually be sharing. I didn't share it in this one because I was like, well, I don't want to share biscotti and gingerbread cookies because it's the same, almost exactly the same recipe. It's a little bit different, but the biscotti saves forever because you double bake it, And so then it can just be sitting in a cookie jar, and then you get it out and you dip it in your hot cocoa and in your coffee, and it just, it's so good. So that's one we'll definitely be making every year. I'm trying to think through all there were so many that just, they fascinated. It was so fun to just read all these different things. Well, at one point they're talking about,
Sinterklaas for Spain.
Sinterklaas?
Living in Spain.
Oh yeah, like how Sinterklaas in the Netherlands, he lives in Spain, in Madrid, Spain. Like that's where he's from. It's like, that's so interesting. And so I have him asking, well, why Spain? He's like, well, why the North Pole? It's like, I don't know. That's just where they ended up. So I came across some really good songs that were different. That was fun. And then I had a lot of fun looking for like in Southern Hemisphere, right? Because I associate a lot of Christmas with Northern Hemisphere because that's where I live. So I associate it with snow and, and Santa Claus and things like that. And my Santa, wears furs and, and is cold and things like that. And then, so finding all these Santas that are wearing, sunglasses and beach clothes, right? And then hearing what they do. And so like things in New Zealand and the whole New Zealand myth with their with the red tree that comes up in the book. That I loved that whole myth was fascinating to me. So yeah, there's a lot of fun ones. It's honestly, you asking me that, it makes me want to reread my own book. Look through it. Be like, oh yeah, that's a good tradition. Yeah.
There you go. Just go through, pick out one.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
It would be the absolute perfect book for that whole tradition of gifting it to somebody and reading on Christmas Eve. Very fitting. So
Yes.
that would be a good option for anybody looking for a gift.
Exactly. If you're looking to start Yola Boca Flowed, this is the book. Absolutely. You can almost read it with everybody in the family for sure. And then the deluxe box, don't forget, you can get that at my website. And that comes with all the fun things. We looked through the deluxe box, Nico, earlier, so you can go back and
I
look
caught
there.
a little bit of that.
Did you catch a little bit? Okay.
At a couple of random times for a couple of minutes, and then I had to jump. But I wanted to make sure I could jump out here. So I saw like the wrapped book and the special bookmarks.
Yes, and the soap. Did you see? That's the best part. That's what I'm so excited about, is the soap. Let's see, where you go.
I don't think I saw the soap.
Because of course, having read the book, you understand how important soap is. So
look at that. That's so cool.
There you go. It looks just like the cover. I love it. She did such a good job. And each one is hand painted. So she did an amazing job.
You included puns with the items as well that are related to the books.
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
So everything is tied in. So I had a lot of fun. It was just one of those, like, while I was writing it, I was actually thinking about that. I was like, man, it'd be really fun to find somebody to make soap to go with this book. Because that would just be too fitting. And then I started coming up with other ideas. And then honestly, like, we went to Hobby Lobby and I started going, there's an idea. That's something I can make. That would work. So, and then making the earrings with my daughter. And it's been really fun. And I needed fun this year. I needed something fun. So I'm excited that we're finally here. That it's not really Christmas time yet. We've got like one more week that I can really dive in. So,
I mean, you can dive in if you really want to, because you deserve it.
So how about you, Nico? Are you one of those you have to wait till after Thanksgiving or after Remembrance Day for Kay?
That is like growing up, it was always we'd do it on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Like afterwards. But I don't care that much, to be honest. It's kind of whenever. It's usually whenever Layla wants to get it put up and decorate, that I'm like, all right, let's do it. But it is easier now, because before we had to actually go, get the tree holder and all that kind of stuff. Because did that for a lot of years, and that, so it seems like a good time because you gotta have the division of holidays. You know,
Yeah,
you have October, November, December. They all have their own holidays.
exactly.
Um, so
Of course, then for me, my birthday is also right around Christmas, and so it all runs together. And so I end up for my birthday, I always ask Andrew to just get me a day away. Like get me an Airbnb and I'm just gonna go away for 2 days and just read and listen to audiobooks and I do puzzles and oh, it's so nice. It's the best gift ever.
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah. All I want for Christmas is to go away. So, but
Oh.
that's okay.
Well, I would say it as pardon me, I would say it as all you want for Christmas is some self-care.
Exactly. Exactly. And what's better than books? So, yeah, exactly. Which this book is available in the hardback, and then it's also available as an ebook everywhere ebooks are sold, and then as an audiobook. And it's narrated by my husband, and he does an incredible job with all of the voices. And I put him through HE double hockey sticks with the words that are in there. There's so
he
many.
can
We had to
take
look
it.
up. Oh my goodness, we did look up like all the Yule lads and how to pronounce every word and every name. And he did a really good job because it was hard. So, and he manages to pull off a pretty good Sam Spade impression the entire time because it's all narrated by Sam. So, I think he did a really good job. So,
Uh, yeah, that's always my problem with the books that he narrates is if I read them first, I'm like, man, I still want to listen to the audio because I want to hear him do it. And so it's always that kind of like, which way do I go?
yeah.
Always just fun.
Yeah, or you can do it like Kay and just read them all at once, right? Do an immersion read.
I do love my immersion reads.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that like I'd like to try at some point, but I've never really done it a whole lot. Um, the only times I've tried it is if like I'm trying to really quickly finish a book and I'm making myself focus harder and turning up the speed really fast, like following along. But I've done that like once or twice for a few chapters, but not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find listening to the audiobook while reading a copy of some kind helps me get less distracted. Because normally, if I'm just reading the paperback or the ebook, I get distracted a lot and it takes me a lot longer to get through the book.
Yeah.
But the audio, I can just zone right in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I found myself having a lot more audio time lately because I'm back in the office, and so
Mm.
3 days a week, unfortunately. But so because of that, I live pretty close, so it's maybe 10, 15 minutes tops with traffic. But I have the morning drive and I have to park in my parking garage. Then I have a long walk through a bunch of stuff to get to my actual building, going up the elevator, all that. So all that walking drive time is extra audio time. But then like I'm not usually reading much during the day. Whereas like when I'm at home, I like I'll like take a quick break, read a little, but I usually don't do that in the office. So I've had more audio time and less physical time lately, but I still I'm making some progress. Got a lot more stuff to get through.
Yeah. You only got like 6 more weeks and it's the end of the year.
I know, don't remind me. I need to go back and check my goals that I naively made at the beginning of the year and see how bad I failed this time.
Yeah.
I'm always like, this is the things I want to read this year, and I get to very few of them usually.
Yeah.
I don't go back for that reason.
Yeah.
Just look forward. Just
That's right.
don't
That's
try
right.
and reflect.
Absolutely.
I've been really focusing on review copies right now because I have so
Ooh.
many I've had for so long, and some of them I go back to email the author. I'm like, hey, I'm finally reading it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this was 6, 7 months ago. Like I'm
Oh,
like, eh. And so
that's okay. It's always good, right? And then it like refreshes the book too, right? Gets it back out there and people start talking
yeah.
about it again and yeah. It's
Y-
always good.
You and Andrew though definitely have like an in where a new Meredith book just gets bumped to the top. So
Yes.
that's how it goes.
Awesome. Thank you for bumping us to the top. We really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy them. We enjoy writing them.
I feel like for this one too, it was like a really good time because it was just a light and fun read. I feel like I needed that. I needed something like that at the time, and so I got through it so fast, even though like I wasn't trying or anything. I just breezed through because I'm just like, this was perfect. And then
Good.
and I finally I got to uh Cupboards All Bared and Crazy Maids in a Row.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so now I'm ready for more in that series too. I've been meaning to get back for forever, and I just did them back to back because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
they're your stuff in general. It's just really nice to throw in when I'm like, I really need something different just to mix it up, and so had a really nice time.
Oh, good. Well, good. I'm glad. Yeah, especially this one. Like I wanted it to be. It's really short. It's less than 50,000 words. So for all of you guys who read those really thick fantasy books, this is a breeze. So
It's true.
yeah. So all right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up. Did you guys have any other questions for me or?
So this is why I feel like I joined too late because I have no idea what's already been talked about.
We talked about cookies. We talked about traditions. It's hard to ask questions when it's a murder mystery,
Right.
This is true.
right?
This is
Without
true.
giving away.
Yeah, I kind of want to give some questions breathing time for other people to read the book.
Yes. Yeah. 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 That's okay. We can talk again later.
Okay.
I was gonna
But
say I'm trying to think of a vague way. If you can't answer this, that's okay. But
Okay.
in being as vague as possible, what the inspirations for the gingerbread man were. If you can answer that, I don't know if
Yeah.
there's a good way for you to answer that, and if not, that's okay.
Well, I wanted him in particular. So one of my favorite series is the Nursery Crime series by Jasper Fforde. So double F Ford. He's got 2 books in the series, and I'm still waiting for him to write book 3. And he keeps going off on other series. I need him to finish it. But one of the main bad guys in that series is the gingerbread man. And he is this insane guy who pulls people's arms off because that's what you do to cookies. And so I was like, well, I don't want that.
I was gonna say that's a little different, but not what I was expecting you to say.
That was so I was trying not to go in that direction. So I had fun playing around with his character, and I wanted him to focus on baking cookies and introduce a lot of topics with that. This is the Jasper Fforde series, so it's the first one's the big over easy. So Humpty Dumpty is found dead, so they have to solve him, and then the 4th bear is the 3 bears and Goldilocks, and there you go. There's the gingerbread man. He gets loose from the asylum.
Oh my gosh!
amazing.
So
that is definitely not what I would have expected.
yeah. So I knew I didn't. That's not the kind of thing I was trying to do here, right? It's definitely playful North Pole gimmicks all through, but it's not the twisted, grim fairy tale type thing, which is almost more like my other series. I mean, Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries started that way. With the grim element. So like the original plan for each of the characters, which I might have said before to you guys, but I don't remember. But like Marion is Red Riding Hood. So like her grandmother's dead and she wears a red coat. And then some other elements of her story as well. And then like Archie Prescott is the Frog Prince. So the first time he's described is as Renarian, which means he's frog-like. He's got big glasses and he's kind of round, and you want him to have a happily ever after. So, so things like that. It actually started as twisted, grim fairy tales and then became a historical mystery. And I much prefer it as a historical mystery. But this one I got pretty close to getting almost like this, getting to play with the, who the femme fatale is, and with Sam and as a snowman and getting to make all sorts of snowman puns and things like that. So
I do appreciate the puns.
Yeah, good. I had so much fun with them. Andrew and I would just look at each other and come up with something, and I'd write something down. We'd be having a random conversation. I'm like, oh, that one's going in the book.
I know. I at some point may have the honor of having a really dumb malapropism thing that I said in a book, maybe. So
Yes,
I remember they're like,
yes.
that's going in a book, and writing it down. So
There is one I wrote down. Yep. Well, honestly, a lot of Archie's malapropisms come from me. I'll just misspeak something. I'm like, oh, that one needs to go in there.
yeah. I
So,
still
yes,
I was dying laughing when I realized that you really did put the bird flying the V joke in, because that is my favorite terrible joke. It's so bad. Everyone hates it when you tell it, and it makes
Yes.
me laugh so much because
Yeah.
it's so bad. It's just like my kind of humor. So just like,
Yeah.
oh, really? Just yes.
Yeah. I had fun playing with their whole dad jokes conversation. So I was like, those are timeless. It doesn't matter if it's 1901. They've been around forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll close for now for here, and probably see you guys again soon in December. I know I want to do some bake-alongs. We're going to do some live baking of different things from the book, and I'm planning on posting some videos about the different the Christmas traditions and the different kinds of Santas and all the different things that are in the book. So if you want to pick up a copy, please, you can find it in ebook wherever ebooks are sold. You can find an audiobook, again, wherever audiobooks are sold. It is narrated by my husband, Andrew D. Meredith, and he does an incredible job. Go easy on him on the pronunciations, because we did our best. We tried to find as much as we could, but it was funny because a lot of people, you find multiple pronunciations for things. So, but that was really fun having to do all of that. So, and then of course you can pick up the hardback copy. You can find it almost anywhere, but I would love it if you would order it straight from me, because then I can send you a signed, personalized Christmas copy from me. And it'll come gift wrapped and with a personal note. And then you're supporting me as an author, straight from the horse's mouth. And then, of course, you can also get it on my website in the deluxe box, and that's like this. And it's got all the fun stuff in there. It's all tied into the book. We've got hot cocoa mix and the soaps and cookie cutters and candy canes and all sorts of things. And that is only available on my website at patricia-meredith.com. And like I said, there are only 50 of those, and we've already got about half of those earmarked with pre-orders. So, if you want to get the deluxe box, I highly recommend that you order it now. And then we'll get those shipped out to you in time for Christmas. So, yeah.
Get them while you can, people.
That's
Smell
right.
like Christmas cookies.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me, Kay and Nico, and everybody in the chat, and any of you watching later. Thank you so much for watching and celebrating with me. I'm so excited about having this book out there. I've wanted to write a Christmas mystery for forever. So it's finally out there. So.
Thank you for having us, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, everybody, have a good night. Merry Christmas. I'll see you soon.